This is our second episode. Again, with Mr. Mhlongo.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Soon to be doctor.
I receive.
How far are you gonna pass it? I'm not sure. Are you gonna pass it?
Throw me under the bus, I'll get you. I'm definitely gonna pass.
Oh,
I'm almost there.
Get you. But anyway, again, I think this two topics we're gonna talk about trust and grief. I think trust is very important. Trust in your personal life, trust with your family, trust with your friends. When you go into the working place, trust with your colleagues.
Yeah.
But also, if you're a businessman, trust in your suppliers. You know, so trust is a very big thing.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, we're all liars. Those who say they don't tell lies, we already broke the 10 commandments. So we break trust. I recently made a very big mistake about breaking someone's trust. We won't go into that, but it is very hard to regain trust if you break it. So that's the one part. And then across all of the phases. So again, romantic, whether it's friendship, whether it's work, it's very hard to regain it.
No, it is.
And sometimes it like, you guys can become friends again or become a couple again, or you guys can be cool at work again, but it's not the same.
No, it never is.
But how do we overcome? So my first question will be, before I introduce the second topic on this, will be, so my first question will be, how do you regain trust again to be at the same level? If you are at 100% and you break the trust, and then let's say you forgive each other or you work out your solution, but now you're only at 80. My question to you is, once you have talked about it or whatever happened to regain that trust, how do you get back to 100?
Important question again, man. I think today you're on fire, hey? Because regaining trust is a very difficult thing. I'm not gonna lie, and people always make this analogy of a broken mirror as well. We can join it together; it'll still actually, perform the same role, but the image is not the same. There's a lot of pieces broken in that particular mirror that's actually been put together. So regaining trust is a long procedure and a long process as well. And I think for me, how you introduce trust is very important, because trust then actually gives me this definition of it not being the same in all spheres of life. Trust suppliers, trust with friends, trust with, particular partner, businessmen, it's not going to be the same. But this question of actually how do we then regain that after actually having fallen short?
Regain to the 100%.
100%.
Not to the 80%. Because you can regain the trust, but then it's 80. It's not where it was. It's not to the 100 where it was the same before. So my question is, how do we get to the 100%?
As I mentioned, I think for me it's a life. It's actually it's a long process. Something that's not going to happen overnight, but getting to that and actually getting into 100, it means that you need to do certain things it's almost like retracing your footsteps, going back. So it means that in the past, a person trusted me. So this is the things that I used to do before I fell short. So therefore, let me go back and ensure that I create another safe environment where this person can feel safe again. But I need to then understand that as much as this person is now slowly starting to trust me, it means that I shouldn't get comfortable as well. It's the same mentality which I take people through in my couples therapy, where there's actually trust has been broken, that you need to do what we call check-ins. Whether it's actually an intimate, inter, whatever relationship that we actually had and that was broken, I need to go back and say, hey, McNeil, I know this happened actually in 2020, but I'm just checking in if you've actually fully healed from what I did to you or what I had done. No, I still get triggers from so we open up the space to then say I'm able to speak about it. I'm also able to show you where I am in terms of actually giving you that 100%. So that actually gives me again containment to say I matter. This person still sees me. I'm actually seen and heard as well. So that for me is a process of actually regaining it into 100, retracing your footstep, creating that environment, and not running away. And I want to speak about men a lot of the times that for them, sorry is okay. We're back to the trust. It's 100. No, it's not. There needs to be performative acts that are folded repetitively to a point where it get to a place where I can fully trust you. And when I'm there as well, I'm not going to be comfortable. I'm not going to rest. I need to do things that actually speaks to the nature of I know I'm 100, but this is actually me keeping it up. That's it. It's important to continuously actually be in that bit of performative image or role, because trust is a very fickle thing again. If it's broken, it's going to be difficult to actually repair. But going back though, to a place, to a moment where me and you were actually tight. So now I'm reflecting back to say, these are the things that I used to do. This actually led to you trusting me and also just checking in, reflecting upon the things that I had done as well. This also gives you light to say, okay, this person is aware that this, what they did actually, the cheating, whatever it is, was actually quite significant to me that I actually pulled back. Because a lot of the times people then become recluse by virtue of what you had done to them. They can still smile, laugh with you and all those things, but they'll never keep you now at 100. So it's important for you to immerse yourself as well by virtue of actually seeing that I'm paralyzed, I'm vulnerable to what I did, and I'm admitting everything as well. So that's the way to rebuild the trust.
Cool. So that's our thing on trust. I think the second point we'll talk about is grief. Grief. You know, again, I can't speak for the white community or the Indian community, but as a black community, if someone passes away, whether you're the husband or whether you're the oldest son, you are not allowed to show any form of tears or cry. Because remember, you have to plan this thing. So your grief is delayed.
Yep.
Does that impact you in the long term?
I mean,
Because you can only start crying 3 weeks later. You can't cry the day, God forbid, anyone's mother dies. You can't be weak during that week or those 2 weeks when they do the, what do they call it, when they do the hour thing where they do the church service every day.
Oh, when people come in.
Come in. They get cookies and biscuits, cookies and oros or tea. You know, you can't cry during those times. You can't even cry during the funeral. You know, no, like, now you basically for 2 weeks, you lost one of the most important persons who was very important in your formation, in your formative, in your life. You can't show it.
Yo, that's a tough one, eh? Because I mean, child-headed families, it's exactly that.
So my question is, that grief, that 2 weeks that you don't have, and again, I don't want to say only males, because females also lead the families and stuff like that, and then also husband dies. How does that 2 weeks impact you, or does that 2 weeks also have such a big impact that you can't get to 100, that it traumatized you? It gives you trauma.
It does, and I like that you mentioned trauma at the end, because I mean, grief is an element of loss. Loss is trauma. Whether you die, whether the person actually left this earth through a traumatic incident or violent one, or even natural, causes as well. So there's an element of trauma there, which actually then allows the person to experience what we call a lot of flashbacks, avoidance, which are then actually built from this 2 weeks. I need to be strong. And a lot of the times women actually go through that a lot. Obviously, men, we're already equipped by window taukal. You need to actually show that and be preparing and actually be doing all of. But women actually go through the most as well. I mean, they sleep with this dead body. they see this person. But in a lot of the time, especially in this country, child-headed, families or household are seen by umafungwas. Mafungwas being the firstborn, or the firstborn person, whoever the person actually is. Those are the people who carry the most burden. Those are the people who carry the most pain. Because remember, the 2 weeks they feel that they hear the news, they contain everyone. They're the ones with the tissues. They're the ones informing the neighbors. They're the ones actually containing and actually comforting their siblings.
They must go to the
mortuary
to get the policy sorted out.
Everything.
They must go to Old Mutual or
Yes.
to Hollide. Hey, they must do everything.
They
don't have time to.
No,
they
no,
don't
no,
have time.
no. There's no time for them actually, and I think that and you're right. So there is something that we call delayed, grief, delayed trauma as well, delayed trauma responses. Because you'd find that later in the year, say for instance, the person passed away in August. It's only in December where they're like, actually, things are not in place. It's the first Christmas without this person, where the other people have actually dealt with the trauma, they've addressed it as well. So grief for them no longer be a process where it's actually from a denial perspective. Now this person is experiencing those stages of grief now, where the person is now in utter denial.
For me, I'll tell you a personal experience. That I was shaped like my personality, how I go about stuff with my grandmother.
Yeah.
When she died, I remember I woke up that night. For some reason, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they said she died. Yeah. For 2 weeks, nah. Then that day, né, when she died, né, it was a school day. I was playing under 16 rugby. Ne? I went to go play rugby, and I said, today I'm gonna score a try. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna score a try, and the try is gonna be for her. Ne? And I scored a try. Actually, I did actually do it.
Nice.
But I didn't deal with anything. Do you know when I dealt with it? I dealt with it after she was buried. And on the day when she was buried, ne, for some reason, I didn't close. So, we had these bantam buckets here, the thing,
Okay.
ne, I didn't close it. And then it hit the garage door. And then a certain individual was angry with me at it. And then I broke down. But I didn't broke down because that individual was angry with me. I broke down because my grandmother was gone.
Oh, shucks.
Do you know, after my grandmother was gone, I still went to UCT, I still paused, whatever. But I lost drive. I lost trying to be the. No, I'm still trying to be the best because that's how I keep that alive. But I remember those 2 years in high school after she passed away, 3 years after she passed away. In university, dude, I got university first year. I failed 4 courses. It would have never happened if my grandmother was alive. Would have never happened. So delayed grief or delayed trauma cannot just be sometimes 2 weeks, Buti. It can be years.
Your grief
The same
takes
way
years.
we spoke about in our previous episode about 8 years waiting for someone to come back.
Yeah.
You can be for years not be at your best because of grief.
That's true. Spot on, actually. Grief takes
So
years.
delayed grief, it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. But then that's grief in losing someone personally through death. Now let's talk about grief if you lose your job. What is your view in that?
Still treat it as the same loss, because I mean, you've lost something that, especially a job. A job is whether it's an 8 to 5, you're there most practically all your life, all your days you're there. So you are then shaped by that job. Interactions, certain character traits are built from that particular place. Now it's no longer there. Remember, I'm just only speaking around environmental behaviors. Now the loss of income. That is also another grief that one needs to actually tackle. And grief also is not experienced the same in terms of gender roles as well. Females and males do not actually respond the same way. And also exposure to trauma. We may both see the same traumatic event happening, but how we then actually experience or reply to that was totally different. So then that loss of employment also is a loss of an identity as well. I'm McNeil, I was known as a manager, but I'm now known as a nobody. So I'm also grieving that identity, that particular social cultural capital that I owned in society. So there's a lot of losses that it's very layered as well.
You're relieving, so now moving, so I fully hear you and I fully understand, so now grief in losing friendship?
There's definitely that as well. That's a huge one.
Same. So it's a huge one, you say. So please elaborate on that.
It's a huge one, as much as it also has the same element of different identities, where McNeil is Benny's friend. No more that. No longer holds that. They're no longer friends. They're no longer everywhere, because we used to see them in every event. We used to see them whenever you see McNeil, you know that you're going to see this particular human being. So there's that grief, that loss as well. But also remember, if you are in close proximity with the person, daily interactions, I'm then shaped by how this particular person thinks as well. So I then lose that as well. So there was a form of EQ or IQ that I also gained by virtue of us sitting together here and experiencing certain things. I've also lost a loss where I can actually have you be my keeper of certain secrets, as well as certain truths as well. You know certain things that tick me off. I'd be there now, McNeil's no longer here, I'm having a conversation with someone else, and then I laugh about something, then the person asks, what are you laughing at? And I'm thinking, oh shucks, McNeil would have actually gotten this. So I'm also losing a sense of self as well. Because you get me. You used to actually understood everything. For us, that was fun. But I'm here now, this particular human being is not understanding. So therefore, I feel a loss of a sense of belonging, a sense of place that I'm not actually feeling there no longer exists. So the friendship one, hence I say it's a bigger one, a very broader one. It's quite sad as well. Because a lot of the times you'd feel very nostalgic around certain experiences, a particular song that we play, a place that I'll pass through, reminiscing about days or anything. They hit quite hard. A particular movie as well, a drink, anything that reminds me of this person, you then now avoid. So by virtue of you avoiding that, it means you're losing that identity. You're now formalizing another one that is outside of this friendship. So there are a lot of gaining that we need to do. There's a lot of learning and unlearning that comes from the loss or the grief of a particular friendship.
Last question, and then I want to last question, same topic but two different things. So grief of a loss of a wife or a husband, and then grief of breaking up.
Oh, that's a tough one, especially the breakup if it's your first love. You know that first love when you're like, actually, so this is what love actually is.
8 years.
You said it. The 8 years one. That's a difficult one, and I can imagine if this person were to come back and say they're married. How would one actually feel?
No, but after 8 years, I think you reach a stage where if they're married, you're okay with it. You don't have it because the 8 years stopped because you then got over it.
Okay.
So remember, the 8 years, it could have been 20 years.
Yeah.
But the 8 years stopped because you got over it. So if 8 years was to say I'm married or I am married, you don't care.
But
not in a bad way. You see, you
I
just
see.
saying,
Not.
I wish you well, all that stuff. But the 8 years, when you, the 8 years when you actually get over it.
No, you're right. But it was also a rhetorical question. But you speak of like from personal experience. Is she married now?
I.
Anyways, yes. What I was saying is exactly that. I think the loss of an intimate relationship, I think that one is a very significant one, because I mean, there you are like, no, I'm going to marry this person. This is my all. I'm giving it my all. And I think that breakup can also cause a disturb as well in how we then see other relationships and how we then actually get comfortable and how we even get to a place where I'm like, I think maybe I'm ready to date. And then in that relationship or that rebound, if it doesn't work, you then actually get to then see.
Rebound, that word. Who?
Sorry.
Rebound. What is a rebound?
It's seen as a person that you date after a hectic breakup.
Is that part to help with the grief?
Yeah. A lot of the times people do that to help.
Does it solve the grief?
Not really, because you end up hurting that person. That person is almost that
Does
person is
it
a
help
ladder. No, not really.
So basically it's a waste of time.
It's a waste of time because you become a very vicious person as well. If you then actually get a rebound, you end up treating this person as if they don't exist actually. You become more mean and very vindictive in that relationship to a point where you see this person as a stepping stone. And that's it. So the person is then the receiver and the victim in all of this relationship. But also, I mean, loss in losing, a loved one or a person that you're married to, I mean, that's a life partner as well. When this person knows you, this person practically knows how you even think, what you're even going to say, as well as knows you when you want to ask for something or permission, but you can't. How you look, how you twitch, how you dress. So it's a very difficult one to actually now try and coexist with this particular loss, because this person is no more here. And even wanting to bring another person, even when you're ready, I think that one is actually kind of difficult, because research shows that, the grief or the loss of a loved one, especially a life partner, takes almost to 20 years to get over. Friendship is seen as year 3, even like intimate relationships, but also losses are seen also closer to that time. Also, if you lose a loved one, it's also seen to 15 to 20 years. It takes forever and ever. I think there's a person that I've known almost all my life, and every time we have a conversation, she'd mention the loss of a loved one still. So it's quite difficult to actually get over that one, because I wake up next to you, I speak to you, I see you, I share my ideas, you my vision board, you my everything. So imagine if I don't have that anymore, I'll become very recluse as well. So other roles I'm able, because remember, in a relationship, you are better as when I'm there. There are certain roles that you play better by virtue of my presence in your life. So imagine if this person is no longer there. Hence, with little kids and how we actually assess them in terms of trauma or loss is through their academics. Their marks tend to actually go south.
Because they're not taught in the ELO.
That as well.
That's
very
why we
important
brought it up.
as well.
So that's why we're saying if we need to find a way to bring this topic there.
Yes.
But Doc, future Doc, I know you're going to pause, probably with distinction.
Look at you being nice.
I'll be so disappointed if you don't. But thank you very much for your time. I think we touched on 2 very important topics, trust and grief. I want to thank you for your time.
Most welcome, sir.
Again, we just want to remind again the audience about your details. If they ever need a clinical psychologist. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for listening in. But I think your takeaway from this particular episode that feel every emotion. When we speak of grief, feel every emotion. Understand that everything is actually as it should. Nothing is delayed. Nothing is ever not on time. As well as trust. Trust is actually not in one entity. It's not a one size fits glove. So you need to actually build, and you need to appreciate that if it's broken, express it. So I think for me, it's just be in a place where you can express yourself. But other than that, catch me on the flip side. Dr_Better. Catch me on Roxic SABC1, Mzansi for sure. Tuesdays at 6 p.m.
You must get to Mzansi Magic, man.
I'm on Mzansi tonight, 8:30. I'm on One Magic. The one that
I
is
got the
very
one
expensive,
magic.
the expensive one. I'm there on the
You go
reality
to one
show.
metric. You're not there to invite yet.
I'm there on a reality show called Impile Ama Piano. I'm with all the piano gents, giving them therapy as a resident therapist. I'm also on 161 on a show called Ngikhetile. I see those couples for therapy. I'm just now flaunting for this person to see that I'm not only on SABC1. Catch me on YFM, catch me on Metro FM, Radio 2000. Catch me on the streets as well. Ngipansula. Happy Heritage Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you learned or got some insight from that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.